I posted a tweet not too long ago on building an agency from scratch, and not like a real agency, just kind of like a pretend agency. I'm pretty excited about the response that I got from it. And so I started to build out this Twitter thread, and I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna do it on Twitter, I might as well do it on the live stream as well, and do it live for you guys. So let's jump in. It starts off with a skill set. Okay, as any great agency does, everyone starts as a great practitioner, specifically in some sort of craft, right? And so if I zoom out on my skill sets, and these are kind of pretend skill sets, these are, I would say I'm probably pretty novice at most of these things on this list. This is a pretend agency, but this is how I would do it if I were to jump into the agency game again. So these are all things that I can do. I'm not incredibly great at them, but if I had to hedge my bets, this is probably where I would start, okay? So my skills, Josh's skills, starts off with video editing. Guys, I can crank on some videos, okay? The other thing is video production, okay? I'm actually pretty crafty with a camera. Copywriting, website design, and Facebook ads, okay? So when I would start an agency, those are the first things that I would essentially think about. What are my skill sets? What am I good at doing? Where could I potentially deliver value for a client, right? That's essentially where we're gonna be starting, right? Facebook ad buying, okay? Website design, copywriting, video production, and video editing. That's a pretty broad scope of different services that I would potentially offer to people. So how do we exactly narrow this down? How do we turn this into an agency model, okay? Well, we have to design something called our niche shell. Okay, I'm going to show you guys what this kind of looks like here. What am I known for specifically? That's where we're going to start. Well, I guess I'm really known for my video production and video editing. Okay, once again, fake scenario here. I'm not actually known for that stuff, but okay, if I were to run this all over again, okay, well, that's what I'm known for, right? Video production and video editing, and that's what you have to pull out of this. You have to pull these specific skill sets out in order to do what you're known for. Okay, so that's the first puzzle piece. Okay, and we have to start there. So mark down what it is that you're specifically known for. What am I best at? What are my skills that I can deliver at a high level? Okay, because it might not be what you're known for. And those things might be video editing, copywriting, right? Two really important pieces that we might feel that we are best at. Okay, and then lastly, what do I enjoy doing on a regular basis that I can deliver at a high level for other people? What do I enjoy doing? And for me, it's copywriting and video production. And when we start to design this niche shell, our goal is to fall right in this little diagram here. We match what we're known for, we match what we're best at, and we match what you really enjoy as an entrepreneur, okay? Somewhere in here, okay? That's the goal, okay? To fall somewhere in that middle aspect, okay? Once we answer those questions, we can go ahead and advance further into our niche shell, okay? There's a second aspect of the niche shell, okay? And it comes down to the opposite side. So it's not about us. It is now becoming about the clients, okay? Now it becomes about the clients. Who do I enjoy working with? My answer is at least, well, I really enjoy working with ambitious people. I enjoy working with entrepreneurs. I love working with people that have an underdog story, okay? Those are people that I really enjoy working with on a regular basis. Okay, and you have to ask yourself that question as you go along here is, who do you actually enjoy working with, and who do you want to deliver a result for? Okay, who do you want to do maybe some video editing for, some copywriting for, video production, right? Copywriting, all those pieces. Who can we deliver that for? And then once we answer that question, we can go ahead and move into the next piece, okay? And we're going to make another diagram over here, which is what unique problem can I specifically solve, okay? Well, with the skill sets that we laid out over here on this diagram, well, we can solve creating organic content. And maybe it's organic short form content to be even more specific than before, okay? So organic short form content. That's the problem that we can solve for people, right? Because that actually solves some problems. People need organic short form content. And then after that, you guys, we have one more little piece to this, okay? Which is, who do I know that I could currently solve this problem for? Okay, who are some ambitious entrepreneurs, people that have an underdog story that I could solve this problem for? And I dropped some examples down here. We got Mr. Nick Shackelford, Dara Denny, Chase Diamond, Nick Crowell, right? Or Nicole Crowell, okay? All people that have, you know, a little bit of an underdog story, okay? And that we could solve this problem for. We can create organic content for these people, right? We could reach out to them, see if they're interested in getting some organic content made. No problem, okay? And then once again, we want that niche to fall right into here, okay? right in that middle piece. Okay? And that's what we're looking for. We're looking to solve a unique problem. We're looking for someone who we enjoy working with. And then who do we personally know that would potentially take part in this immediately? The last piece here of our niche shell is, how can we refine this? How can we make it even more niche, more focused? And why do we want to go more focused exactly? Well, the reason that we want to go more focused is the more broad of an industry that we are in, the more of a commodity it becomes, and the more difficult it is to have a unique selling proposition. A unique selling proposition becomes so important for us. And so for me, my agency that I'm building, what can I cut and refine from our niche shell? I'm just gonna cut the men out, right? I'm just gonna create content, organic content for the females, right? The underdogs, the female entrepreneurs that are ambitious and need some organic content. That's a niche positioning, okay? That's gonna give you an edge when it comes to selling your service versus an agency that just creates content for everyone. And if you don't think that you can scale an agency with that refined of a niche to $1 million per year, I think you're crazy. And I think being that defined in that niche is going to get you a lot further, a lot faster. But think about this from, let's say, a stance of ecom. So specifically, let's take Kevin Thompson, who's in our group right now. Okay, Kevin Thompson serves e-commerce brands, and essentially how he could refine his niche even further is picking a few e-commerce brands that he really excels at. Maybe he really excels at supplement brands, which I don't think anyone actually excels at supplement brands, but let's say supplement brands is where Mr. Kevin Thompson absolutely crushes. Okay, so if Kevin absolutely crushes in supplement brands, well, man, like there's a lot of supplement brands out there, right? What if he was specialized with just supplement brands? It would crush it, right? And he'd be able to deliver a higher result because that's more systemizable. That's easily scalable because he's only serving one type of brand. And I always use this. I always use the example of my good friend Aaron Nospish's agency of Lucid. If you guys aren't familiar with We Are Lucid, they serve conscious compound, THC, or not THC, conscious compound and CBD brands, and that's all. That's it. It is a very refined niche that they jump into. Okay. And that's why I'm going so niche specifically on this example of we're just going to serve the female entrepreneur, right? Is because that niche shell becomes even more refined and we can go even deeper. Why is it important for us to stay focused in our niche? Why not go after the cash? Why not go after the opportunity at hand? Why do we say no to things outside of our niche? Okay. Well, it's speed, right? When you're really focused on one thing, you can go faster than being focused on a lot of things, right? And if you guys have ever read the book Essentialism by Greg McKeown, this graph is specifically in there. When we have lots of different services, our attention gets spread in a lot of different directions, and we go a little distance across those directions, right? So not a lot of progress. These are all the niches that you serve. These are all the different services that you provide, right? Just distractions. But when you get really dialed in, when you get really focused, specifically on one niche and going a mile deep on it and being the best in your craft at that specific niche, well, you have focused energy and you go a lot further, a lot faster, right? And so if you guys are, if the goal is speed to $1 million, if the goal is to get there within 12 months, which is relatively quick for an agency, well, then the focus has to be very dialed in. And you can't do a bunch of things because it's just going to complicate it. Because $1 million takes team, takes infrastructure, okay, takes systems. And when you're systemizing a business, the more niches that you serve, the more types of services that you have, well, that's more systemization that you're going to need in order for your team to fulfill on that specific service. So it becomes a lot more difficult versus just serving one specific clientele and then having maybe like 1 to 2 different services. Kind of elementary information, maybe for some, maybe groundbreaking for others, okay? But has to be covered at the beginning. Otherwise, it's not gonna scale the way that you want to, right? So if the goal is to actually get to $1 million per year, this is the route that we need to take. Okay, so hopefully that's making sense so far. Let's recap for a quick second here. So we're starting with skill sets. So I have specific skill sets that I then bring into a niche shell. Okay, what I'm known for, what I'm best at, what I enjoy. Okay, from there, I talk about who do I enjoy working with, what's the unique problem I can solve, and then who do I know that I could solve that problem for. And then I refine it. I cut stuff out and I refine my niche shell. In this example, we cut men out of the equation, and boom, just like that, we're starting to build our niche. We're starting to build our positioning. Already, I'm thinking of all the different ideas, what I can name my agency, all of the offerings that I could have within my agency. And then from there, we have to have the understanding that lots of different services, lots of different niches is just a slow way to growth. Doesn't mean it doesn't work, okay? Can work, but it's a slower route to growth than one niche. Really focused, goes fast, right? Really, the next piece is building out positioning for our agency. This becomes one of the most important pieces, and one of the starting elements of starting any agency is building out a strong market leader positioning. We call it an MLP, or market leader positioning. And if you're positioned poorly within this space, you're gonna have a hard time selling your stuff. Okay. So got to be positioned right, have to be a market leader, and that's why niche is so important. That's why we covered niche first, because that turns you into a market leader. And without it, you're just a generalist. We're looking to build specialists that can charge a high price point for a specific skill set that serves a specific type of person, right? And when we can do that, you can hike up those price points and you can become a specialist, right? So how to think about your positioning in your agency, okay? Well, as Nicholas says here, positioning is a lot more involved than what's in this document, but this document is designed to point in the right direction, right? So what does positioning mean exactly? Well, we kind of talked about that, right? Positioning is, about crafting a unique and compelling brand identity that sets you apart from your competition. That's essentially it, okay? That's the positioning aspect. You guys have to be positioned. And why is it important? Well, it's going to help you guys define that unique selling proposition, as we said before. And without it, it is going to be really difficult for you guys to sell your stuff, because you're just going to be some noise amongst everyone else. Because guess what? In this specific example, everybody creates organic content for entrepreneurs. But what if we did something slightly different, where it was entrepreneurs that were female and had an underdog story? Well, shoot, that's a unique position. That's something people buy into. Think about that in your positioning. And it's like, oh yeah, we run Facebook ads. Okay, yeah, so does everyone else. I can run Facebook ads. Doesn't mean I'm going to be any good at it, right? So you have to have that unique positioning. And if you don't have that unique positioning, you're going to get outbid and out-talented by agencies that do have that unique positioning. Okay, so let's keep pushing along here. So how can you position your agency? Well, once again, we have to develop a clear and compelling unique selling proposition, USP. We love a good USP. So how do we find it exactly? Well, there's a couple things that we need to drill down into, okay? Your USP, once again, comes back to what we already built out. So here we go. Like, we already did this stuff. What your customers want, what you do well, while avoiding what your competitors do well and what you don't, right? So we don't want to necessarily go toe-to-toe with our competitors that are doing something better than us, okay? But at the same time, we want to make sure that we're kind of playing in our own circle, okay? In our own specific niche. And you're always going to have competitors, right? But if you can have the unique selling proposition down, you can outbid a lot of your competitors, because there's a lot of people that do organic content, as our example, organic content for entrepreneurs, right? But I've yet to hear of an agency that does organic content specifically for female entrepreneurs that have an underdog story. That's unique. That's going to sell. Okay. Now, make a list of the following 3 things: what your customers want. Okay. Got to have that crystal clear picture of your avatar, their beliefs, desires, and struggles. And then this is going to make it much more powerful and not watered down. Okay. And so helpful questions here. If you guys need these helpful questions, okay, what problems do they need to solve? So for us, it would be specifically around creating consistent content that is positioned the right way, that supports their brand well. Okay. Just like it would be for a more broad agency. But here's the thing is, we got that niche, right? We got something very specific. And then what are the emotions these problems are causing them to feel? Okay. And this is where that unique selling proposition comes in. Okay. Is the emotional side. What pain points are they feeling? Okay. That's going to be really important for you guys as you continue to kind of build out an avatar. And we'll talk about that in the next one. We'll talk about avatar. We'll actually build out one live for you guys. Okay. And so you can see the action that actually goes into avatar building. And then what stopped them from already solving the problem. And that's where, on a sales call, man, how powerful is it when you can figure out all the things that they've tried before? They've tried it themselves. They tried hiring contractors. They tried hiring an internal team and it just hasn't worked so far. So what have you tried in the past? And once we could figure out that pain point, dang, like that becomes powerful because we become the solution at that point, and it becomes a no-brainer. Because everyone knows they need organic content. Everyone knows that they should be posting organic content. Hence why I'm sitting here right now at 7:42 p.m. on a freaking Thursday night shooting content. Everyone knows that they need to do this, but then some people need some help, right? Some people need some guidance along with it, okay? So those are a few questions that you can ask to kind of start dialing in that avatar. And then from there, what do you do well? Okay. And we already talked about this. This is that zone of genius. So we already built this out for our specific agency, but I just want to harp on it one more time that you guys have to be better at your craft than anyone else. People have to feel that you can deliver a result that no one else can deliver. What can you do in your sleep? That's highly valuable. And then the last question there, what do you outlearn everyone else on? And where does your attention naturally go? Okay. So you got to find that zone of genius, guys. If you're operating outside of your zone of genius, if you're offering something to your clients that you know for a fact that you're not good at, you're doing a disservice, one, to your clients. In my opinion, that's low integrity, but you're also doing a disservice to yourself because you're not growing your business as fast as you could be, focusing on the things that you're great at, okay? And then the third piece here and the last piece, what do your competitors do well? If you just answered the first two questions, we'd likely end up with something similar to our competitors. So make sure the end result is unique to your selling proposition. And that's where, for me, it's like, hey, we talked about how do we niche down just a little bit further? How do we get just a little better positioning than people that are doing something similar to us? And there's some questions there. Okay. What does our competition beat us at? What are the gaps in our competition offering, competition's offering or structure? What do our competitors do that we don't want to do? Okay. So those questions become really important, and we want to steer clear of some of those pieces. And then once we answer those pieces, okay, we continue to build that stuff out. Okay, but once we've answered those things, put your statement through this analogy, which I love this analogy. Now I'm going to read it for you guys because I think it's super gangster. Okay, it's the old restaurant analogy. So you got to imagine you're a restaurant wanting to stand out in your local market at the lowest level of positioning. Everyone is relatively the same thing, commodity, easily accessible, affordable. Okay, every restaurant is a restaurant, no matter how fancy or how good the food is. We don't have a way of knowing what we're going to get unless stated. Okay, we as a customer can't make a great decision about what we're looking for. All we know is that we're hungry. Okay, think about it like this. Do you want to be the restaurant that is defaulted to when there's no other option, when there's no specialization, we're unable to charge any sort of premium for our food, we're not exceptionally good at any specific, so our perceived value is low. So for example, McDonald's, okay? And we don't want to be here. Guys, you do not want to be the McDonald's of agencies, right? Nobody wants to be a generalist agency. And don't get me wrong, McDonald's is good though, like low-key McDonald's slaps a little bit, but guys, you don't want to be the McDonald's of agencies. I can tell you right now. Seen a lot of McDonald's agencies. They aren't very happy with their jobs. You ever seen a McDonald's employee, right? They are not happy to be there, okay? And I'm sorry if someone's in here that works at McDonald's, right? But majority of people that work at McDonald's are not happy, right? So you don't want to be a McDonald's employee. You don't want to run a McDonald's business. Okay? How do we take it to the next level? Well, we have 3 levels of positioning here, and that's level 1. So we don't want to be on level 1. So level 2 positioning, okay? So using our restaurant example for this one as well, the next level, the even better level of positioning is where we might be able to say we're an Italian restaurant, Mexican restaurant, or Mediterranean restaurant, which my pick there, of course, would be a Mexican restaurant, okay? Now we can see that someone can actually make a conscious decision on wanting to eat at a specific genre of food. We might have some specific menu items they like, and we're specialized enough that you can meet that people know what they're going to get and an expectation it's going to be a little bit more expensive. The customer knows the food is likely to be good, and as well from having a local reputation that this is the spot for this specific food, this specific Mexican food, okay? And this is where we're getting somewhere, right? We're getting a little bit more into the specialization, okay? And this is where I think a lot of agencies fall for a majority of it, okay? And then from there, level 3 positioning, the final level of positioning. This is the premium Michelin star type restaurants, right? This is where we want to be positioned, okay? Final level of positioning is where the customer knows exactly what they're seeking out. The business can fulfill on those specific desires and outcomes for the customer, and they're looking for desires and outcomes the customer is looking for, and as a result, and is highly specialized. Okay. For example, we're now a Michelin-starred French restaurant specializing in seafood, right? Ooh, that sounds good. Okay. So now we're talking. Okay. Do you think that this specific restaurant is cheap? Of course not. This is going to be an expensive restaurant that you're eating at. It's the best of the best. It's premium. People are ready to pay to go here. They'll even put in a reservation months in advance to be able to eat at a restaurant like this, right? So this is the type of positioning that we're specifically looking at. Do you want to be a Michelin star restaurant, or do you want to be a McDonald's? Gotta get that positioning down so we can charge the premium, baby. Okay. And then positioning does not stop by doing this specific exercise and never revisiting it. Guys, you have to update it constantly. We constantly update our positioning within our agencies, within our consultancy. Okay. This is something that is regularly visited, at least quarterly for us, because we make adjustments and changes based off of our offering, right? And so got to be consistent with it. And it will be extremely beneficial for you guys. So let's talk about some of the benefits of level 3 positioning, which I kind of mentioned already, but kind of makes you the go-to in the niche. Okay. So once again, how many of you guys have heard of an agency that specializes specifically in female entrepreneur organic content that have an underdog story? I haven't. And I work with a lot of agencies. I get to see a lot of agencies on a regular basis. So you're the go-to in the niche. And I think that if I created this agency, I would be the go-to in the niche. You can also charge what you want. Okay. And maybe not what you want exactly, but at least what you're worth, and never be compared to someone who can do it for less. Because when we come to the table and a female entrepreneur comes into my agency that has an underdog story and she's super ambitious, it's like, well, hey, this is who we work with. Like, you're meant to be in this specific agency, right? And when they compare you to another agency, okay, well, cool. Well, what do they do? Oh, they create organic content. Okay, for who? Oh, well, it seems for everyone. Oh, for everyone. Well, we just work with people like you. That becomes powerful. That becomes your competitive advantage specifically in your niche, right? And then you start outbidding people. You start outselling your competition because you're positioned correctly. Okay. And then once again, reduces competition and unideal clientele. Immediately, you're able to exit people that are not qualified, right? Sorry, we just don't take on men. It's part of the game. See how that becomes powerful when you can say no to people? Nicholas put a little warning label down here. As you go through this exercise, you'll have a hard time saying no to clients, because when the money's in front of you, you want to say yes, but if you want to be niche down, if you want to charge what you want to charge, if you want to go fast, you got to stay within the niche. You got to stay specialized. Can't be a generalist anymore. Generalists don't work in the agency space. Used to be able to do it. Not anymore, though. Very difficult to win as a generalist in this space, okay? And here's the thing. You don't have to stay there forever. You can expand outside of this at a certain point, but rule of thumb, one niche, one offering to $1 million. Then you can expand. But until you get to $1 million, you can't expand. Not allowed, okay? Yo, what's up, crew? We are doing a live stream throughout the next couple of months showing you how to build an agency from 0 to $1 million. It's going to be 100% free. It's going to be on a live stream. We're literally going to build it out step by step for you guys. So if you're interested in learning how to grow, build an agency, whether you have goals to build to $1 million or not, this is going to be some fundamentals that I feel that you should have instilled inside of your agency. So come hang out on our next live stream. Here's some dates here for